If you have stumbled upon this video and have been battling the relentless cycles of acid reflux, pain in your chest, heartburn, or pain in your throat, feeling like something is stuck in your throat, coughing, post-nasal drip, pain right underneath the rib cage, all of these symptoms and maybe even other ones I didn't mention, then this video is for you. I personally struggled with GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, for over a decade, and I have made it my life's mission to help you overcome your reflux or GERD or LPR and take back control of your health and symptoms so you can live your fullest life. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the 3 biggest mistakes that could be holding you back from overcoming your reflux symptoms. When we think about acid reflux, we always think about foods. We always think about the reflux triggers, garlic, onion, tomato, spicy foods. You can learn all about the reflux trigger foods here in my video on the worst foods for acid reflux. But there are things that actually have nothing to do with what you're eating that could be triggering your acid reflux. Now, I want to start by thinking about this scenario, and let me know in the comments if this scenario sounds familiar to you. So one of my clients, Emma, she was waking up and she had a super busy schedule. She had to get right up and go, and she didn't really have time to eat breakfast, or she wasn't really making the time to eat breakfast. The second part of this situation was also she was dealing with GERD. She was dealing with a lot of heartburn, pain underneath the rib cage, regurgitation, shortness of breath. And so food was really anxiety provoking for her, and she would kind of try to push off her meals as much as she could because she was afraid of getting reflux symptoms after her meals. And so she would skip breakfast, and then when lunch would come, she would just probably have like a granola bar or a protein bar, nothing really substantial. And then as the day went on, she maybe would have a snack, but she didn't want her reflux symptoms to interrupt her day. So she would put off eating, and she was also, living this really busy, high-stress life. So then came dinner, and at this point, Emma was famished. She was so starving that she just could not slow down. She could not stop her eating at 80% fullness. She just really, dove into her meal because she was hungry, and that's understandable. She had been basically fasting almost all day with very little intake. So I want to know in the comments if this situation sounds familiar, if sometimes you just are too busy to eat, or if sometimes you push off eating because of anxiety. You are not alone. This brings me to the first bad habit that could be contributing to your reflux symptoms, which is undereating. So it seems counterproductive, right? It seems like maybe the less you eat, the less reflux you would get, but no, that is not the case. That's absolutely not true. Not eating can actually contribute to reflux. If we go too long without food, there is an acid buildup that can happen in our stomach, and this acid buildup can be really uncomfortable and can irritate the tissues of the lower esophageal junction where the stomach connects to the esophagus. It could also irritate the gastric lining, the stomach lining. So if you've ever had a dog or a cat and they threw up from going too long without eating, this is exactly what's happening in our body too. If we go too long without eating, this can contribute to reflux and stomach problems. The other part of undereating is that it kind of screws up your whole digestive system. So chronic undereating can cause bloating, constipation. It can also make us more susceptible to overeating or eating past fullness, which is number 2, the second bad habit that is absolutely one of the biggest reflux triggers. I no longer struggle with gastroesophageal reflux disease, but I will say overeating is still a trigger for me. If I eat way past fullness, I'm not gonna feel well. So this is still something that I need to work on myself and constantly be trying not to do. When I was in Italy a couple weeks ago, I definitely ate past fullness. The food is just so delicious there. I was eating pasta and pizza, and it was really hard to follow my golden rule of stopping at 80% fullness. And so I was eating a lot of reflux triggers, drinking wine, eating past fullness, eating late. So I did experience some reflux. And I'm bringing this up because I think it's important to know that even after you've healed from GERD, you do have to follow some of these same suggestions and guidelines to help your body digest at its best and help you prevent reflux. Our body is not designed to intake a huge amount of food at one time. A lot of us do better with smaller, more frequent meals, especially a smaller meal as your last meal. It can be really problematic to have a really large meal at the end of the day after a long day of undereating, and then a really large dinner laying down. It doesn't give your stomach enough time to empty empty before you lay down. And when you lay down, you don't have gravity to keep food in your stomach. So this can create a lot of nighttime reflux. Eating past fullness basically overfills and overstretches the stomach, and your stomach contracts in 3 places. And when that upper portion of the stomach contracts and there's a ton of food up there, you know, some food may move downwards, but a lot of foods can also move upwards into the esophagus. And this is reflux. Reflux is when your food contents are kind of reversing in the opposite direction we want them to. Eating past fullness also puts a lot of stress on the lower esophageal sphincter, that sphincter that connects the stomach to the esophagus. And if you have a hiatal hernia, this is really important for you to be aware of. You really want to be eating smaller, more frequent meals and watching your fullness cues during a meal. Also, if you have lower esophageal sphincter issues, of course, anything that puts a lot of pressure on the sphincter is going to loosen it even more. So 80% fullness is key. Slowing down, chewing well, savoring every bite, really enjoying the textures and the flavors so that you can be satisfied with a smaller portion of food is a great goal to set for yourself this week. So you're probably thinking, okay, got it. Undereating, overeating. I understood. But there's one more habit I want to talk about that you may not have thought of that could be contributing to your reflux symptoms. So I want to take you back to about 15 years ago where I was burning the candle at both ends. I was running around, working 3 jobs, and my eating habits were irregular, but it was also not a sustainable schedule for myself. I would find myself exhausted at the end of the day. My stress levels were really, really high. I didn't have time to get enough sleep. I didn't have time to foster my hobbies, interests, passions, goals. And I just felt really exhausted and had a lack of joy in my life. I felt like I had a lack of passion and didn't really have the time to take care of myself. And all of this combination of high stress, tons of work, no boundaries, no joy, very little joy, or very little fun, this led to nervous system dysregulation. And I think this is really common in our culture. We sort of live in this hustle culture where everyone is go, go, go. It's really celebrated to be very busy and sort of on that edge of being too busy at times. And this type of schedule, though, does not lend itself to optimal digestion. So when we're living in a state of fight or flight, our body interprets this message as like, digestion, not that important. We're gonna prioritize blood flow to our limbs, to our heart, to our brain, in case we have to run from a tiger because something dangerous might be going on. You know, we're in fight or flight and we have to be ready. So digestion, not that important. And so your body is trying to protect you, but actually what it's doing is down-regulating your digestion. It's putting your digestion on the back burner, and so you produce less digestive enzymes, you produce less stomach acid. In some scenarios with chronic stress, you may also produce excess stomach acid in the case of ulcers. You also have less blood flow to your digestive system, and this chronic stress, this vagal nerve disruption, can also contribute to motility disruptions. So a key part of your nervous system is called the vagus nerve, and this controls the motility, the flow of your digestive system. And if your vagus nerve is not being taken care of, if your nervous system is not being taken care of, then this can cause slow motility, it can cause reverse motility, or even way too fast motility. If you've ever experienced diarrhea during a time of high stress, then you've experienced that motility impact of stress. And now some of our bodies react with reflux. We react by having reverse motility. Our digestive system is not functioning properly, and we can have the reverse flow of stomach contents into the esophagus, i.e. acid reflux. So it's really important that we think about our nervous system. And the mistake that I was making during this time was completely neglecting my nervous system. And I will tell you, I see this time and time again with my clients. They come to me and they might be avoiding all the reflux triggers. They are using all the supplements, but they are still living a high stress life, really high strung, very stressed, you know, lots on their plate, and they're not taking the time to manage stress. And I know what you're probably thinking is that how the heck am I ever going to get rid of the stress in my life? I have kids, I have XYZ, and the goal is not to get rid of stress. We never can get rid of stress in our lives. It is how we deal with it. It's how we empty our stress cup. It's how we set up boundaries and implement habits and strategies to consistently manage stress. So A few things that I changed in my life that really helped me get control of my nervous system health was a daily morning mindfulness practice. So doing 5 to 10 minutes of yoga or meditation, deep breathing. Some of these tools I have on the Flora app, which is my app for acid reflux support and healing. I also started to say no to certain things. If I felt like that taking on too much was going to negatively impact my health, I had to really reframe this to really put my health first, knowing that my health is actually the #1 priority, because if I can't show up as a healthy version of myself, then I am also letting everyone else down, and I can't be there for everyone else if I'm not showing up healthy. So reframing the mindset as health is the #1 priority and saying no if I had to. And then, taking nervous system breaks throughout the day. So in the beginning of when I started my practice, I would just back to back see clients all the time. And I had no breaks. And I realized I was burning myself out. And so implementing even 1 to 2 5 or 10 minute breaks throughout the day to step out, take a few deep breaths, go for a walk, connect with a friend, get some connection to yourself, to nature, to another human being. This is going to help you feel much more regulated. So in addition to getting enough sleep and addressing actually previous trauma, seeing a therapist was a really important part of my reflux relief journey as well. These things helped to regulate my nervous system, which is bad habit #3 is ignoring the nervous system and thinking that stress isn't contributing to your reflux symptoms, because I assure you it is. So there you have it, 3 bad habits that might be contributing to your reflux symptoms. And if you are struggling with reflux, GERD, LPR, you are absolutely not alone. I have an entire reflux playlist dedicated to help you find delicious recipes, strategies you can start today for free to optimize your gut health and prevent reflux. I also have a free acid reflux meal plan down below. And if you are ready to start making better food choices and heal your reflux once and for all, you're gonna wanna check out my best foods for reflux. This is a grocery tour where I take you through and show you the best foods for reflux. So check out this video, be sure to subscribe down below, give this video a like because it really supports my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.